Do these questions sound familiar to you? Why does he keep nicking the seventh stump ball? Why can't he just leave it? Why can't he play like Sachin Tendulkar when he scored 241 runs at Sydney without a single cover drive? While of course there could be many factors behind this, I try to analyze Virat Kohli's centuries, about his scoring patterns, to understand what is really ailing the king. Hello folks, welcome to Sticky Wicket. Let's get right into it. Let me take you folks back 10 years to India's tour of England in 2014. Virat Kohli was already a superstar, ready to take the world by storm, and we were all ready for a big series win in England. But that's not what happened. Folks around him seemed a little more comfortable than he was. Murli Vijay got 100, Ajinkya Rahane got 100. But Virat Kohli kept falling prey to the ball that went outside off. So what happened? Over the next 3 to 4 years, Virat Kohli tried to fix his technical problems in his batting. He opened his stance a little. He started getting in line with the ball, started playing a little more patiently outside off, and it reaped rewards as well. Against South Africa in the 2017-18 tour in Centurion, he made 153, although we lost the series and the game. Virat Kohli looked in great touch. It was a minefield of a track and he dominated Mone Mokil, Kagiso Rabada, and Vernon Philander. Carrying forward 6 months later, 8 months later in England as well, nobody can forget the wonderful 169 at Edgbaston, and beyond that, he scored close to 600 runs against England in that series. So, what is happening now? This short bit is purely my opinion. I love Virat Kohli. I'm a huge fan of his. In fact, I'm wearing his jersey right now. But I don't think that he is technically the most gifted player in the world. Please do comment if you think otherwise. But he's not as gifted as a Sachin Tendulkar. Now he's a workhorse. For any cricketer in the world, for any upcoming cricketer, he should be a role model for how to conduct themselves, how to be disciplined day in day out with their cricket. But there are there are some technical difficulties that are something that you can't teach. Someone like a Sachin Tendulkar, for him, it came naturally. He had a second peak since 2008 as well. But it is tough for someone like Virat Kohli. An equivalence that I can make to a cricketer a generation before would be Ricky Ponting. Now, these players, the workhorses that they are, the gift that they have is the mind and body coordination. They have wonderful wrists. Their hands respond to their brain signals very well, and they can latch on to ballers. Once they get in line of the ball, they can score very high percentage shots with the flick, the pull, and the on drives and the straight drives. But to come up with the cover drive every single time, with age, Virat Kohli's batting has changed. I feel like Virat Kohli right now has to rely a little bit on ugly cricket in the first 20-30 balls. Where I'm coming from is that Virat Kohli loves the cover drive. It is a high percentage shot for him. And when it comes off, it looks out of the world. But of late, he's getting out to that shot more than his scoring runs. And it is paining me a lot. Uh, I feel like he should get his eye in. He should play for 20-25 balls, and then he'll be on for a big score. Something like what Steve Smith has done recently in the Brisbane Test. He got 100. I feel like Virat Kohli should do that. I did a quick analysis, a quick and dirty analysis of the hundreds that Kohli scored when he stayed and went on to play for more than 100 balls. I did a ball by ball analysis to see his scoring patterns. So let's just see how those pan out. Here on the screen, you're seeing a ball by ball analysis of all of Kohli's hundreds. Each column, each row refers to a ball that he played, and the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 is a result of that ball. And each column is the 100 that he scored. He has 30 test hundreds, as you can see. So, what I did was, in the first 20 balls, I wanted to see how he usually plays, right? So I had taken the runs in the first 20 balls, the number of boundaries, especially that he scores in the first 20 balls, the inning strike rate, the strike rate until the 20 balls. But what was interesting to me is the number of boundary balls that he ends up playing in the different phases of the innings, right? So in the first 20 balls, I had observed that the proportion of boundary balls in the first 20 is usually more than the proportion of boundary balls in the rest of the innings whenever Virat Kohli scored 100. I'll break it down. So in the first 20 balls, if he scores two boundaries, that is 2 by 20, is 10% balls are boundaries. Three boundaries would give you a 15%, a greater proportion. In the rest of the boundaries, say for example, he scored 18 boundaries when he scored this century. Out of 18, the two boundaries came in the first 20 balls, and the rest of the 16 came in the remaining 165 balls. So when you compare the proportion of boundary balls in his hundreds, you will observe that 18 times out of 30, Virat Kohli has had a greater proportion of boundary balls in the initial phase of the innings as compared to the latter half. In the out of the remaining 12, seven times he has not scored a boundary at all. So it happened so that it was a low scoring innings, and we can comfortably discount them. So 18 versus 5, 18 times Virat Kohli has scored has had a greater proportion of boundaries in the first 20 balls. Now why am I emphasizing on this is because right now I feel like the top order is not doing a good enough job to dig in and see off the new ball. Usually, Virat Kohli is a kind of an aggressive batter who comes in later in the innings and absolutely dominates the batsman. He dominates the bowlers and the fielders. In the first 20 balls, he gets a couple of boundaries and he gets his eye in, and then he can play his slow knock, and then he can play patiently. What is happening now is he's coming in too early, and because of that, he's having to face the new ball, which is not used to. The instinct says that whenever a ball is outside the off stump, Virat Kohli drives and is a beautiful cover driver of the ball. But what is happening now is uh, because of the unpredictable movement, because of the newer pitches, because of um, his age as well, to curb that instinct is very difficult. So, as I was saying earlier, I feel like Virat Kohli should play ugly for the first 20-25 balls, and then he will go on to score big. If you're still around, thank you so much for watching this video. Do like, share, and subscribe. And let me know what you think are Virat Kohli's problems. If you think Virat Kohli should retire right now, if somebody else should come and do comment that also. And thanks for watching.